And could you speak a little bit about what that's like for you so people can understand inside the mind of a child who's been threatened to be killed by a parent or a hitman? Like, what is that like for you so people can understand the level of this kind that this can get to? And for the mental health practitioners who we might sit in front of one day as well, please.
Of course. I think it's important to say that most people will not understand. Even with an explanation, we don't want them to understand your question. And I know that sounds kind of odd to say, but you take the average family dynamic, whether it's a family that's where the parents are still together, there's joint custody, but most of those children will never understand what it's like to have a parent that it's either 100% with that parent or at the other end of the spectrum where that parent actually says, if you're not with me, I want you dead. That's so far-fetched for anyone to imagine. My hope for them is that our explanations don't allow them to understand. And that goes back to the importance of giving the education and the awareness. And I keep repeating that over and over because
Mm-hmm.
the only way for a child to understand what we're talking about that way is to actually experience it. And I don't want a child to ever have to experience it. One of the most important questions, I was giving a large speech in person in Utica. There were several hundred people there. And in the audience, they had microphones because when questions get asked, as you see, I thrive. There's so much to my story. I give a brief overview and then I open it up to the questions because then we could dive into the real issues. There was this young couple there, and they were in the middle of them, they were holding hands with a little 10-year-old boy. He was wearing a little baseball cap and a baseball jacket. That could have been me and my parents exactly back when I was 10 years old. And one of the parents asked me, they said, we're getting a divorce. What could we do to put our child first? I must have spoke for half an hour just on that question. And that's the importance of showing them they have to put their own wants and needs aside and do what's best for the children.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the focus of what your question is, rather than focus on how does it feel. That they should never have to, you know, you know, attack the issue of this is what it's like for a parent who wants me actually dead. It's not a question to even fathom. So I'm not quite sure how to answer that directly. More importantly, is how I answered it indirectly.
Yeah, thank you.